Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bennington Select Board meeting. Today is Monday, August 11th. We are at the Bennington Fire Facility, third floor multipurpose room, 130 River Street in Bennington. My name is Tom Haley. I have the honor of chairing this board, and I will ask my fellow board members to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Nancy White.
Hi, good evening, this is Sarah Perrin.
Hello, Jim Sullivan.
Good evening, Jackie Matz.
Yes. Good evening, Clark Adams.
I'm Ed Woods.
All right, we'll begin tonight as we always do with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ed, if you could.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And Jim, would you read our vision statement this evening, which guides our work?
Sure. Bennington is a welcoming, engaged, inclusive, resilient community where everyone, regardless of identity, shares in our vitality and benefits from an outstanding quality of life.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of July 21st, which was the vicious dog hearing, July 28th, regular meeting, the warrants, and I didn't see any licenses.
No licenses.
No licenses.
For the purposes of discussion, I move to accept the consent agenda.
We did have one absence from the vicious dog hearing, so I'm going to take the July 21st minutes, if that's okay, if you want to.
Okay, for the purposes of discussion, I move to accept the minutes of July 21st.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor of accepting the minutes from July 21st? Oh, I'm sorry, Clark.
Forgive me, was Ms. Carolyn present at the dog hearing? I thought she was absent.
She was.
I was absent.
It does say she was
It says
absent. That's why I split them.
That's why we're doing them separate.
Because I appear select board president.
Look. Oh, is she listed twice?
Oh, yeah.
And absent.
Sarah was there and not there. So we can correct that.
Sometimes that happens.
Notice that only one board member caught that. Just not good.
All right. So, all in favor of the minutes from July 21st as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And one abstention.
I will be abstaining due to the deliberative session.
All right, and we'll take now the minutes of July 28th and the warrants. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion to accept.
Second?
Second?
Okay. Any discussion?
Tom, I just want to mention that I'm going to abstain even though I was remotely present, but it was very difficult for me to connect and hear.
Yeah, we had some difficulties.
And so
there.
I think it's just best if I abstain.
Okay, fair. Anything else? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? And one abstention. All right, thank you very much. Next, we'll move on to public comment. I'll remind everyone that public comment is a time to allow residents to share information or make announcements that benefit the community at large. I'll remind you that you should not discuss an agenda item. If you do want to discuss an agenda item, you'll have an opportunity to do so at that time. Please do keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. State your legal name and town of residence. And I'll remind you that sharing comments and concerns and announcements are encouraged rather than asking questions. It's not a time for discussion. If you do have
Excuse me, Mr.
specific
Chair.
questions.
We have a question down here on this end of the table. We're not sure that we covered the warrants in those two approvals that we just gave. We know we covered minutes.
I did ask for a I did ask for a motion for the warrants and the minutes for that first meeting, for the July.
My apologies, I missed that part.
I missed it also.
It was my intention to make a motion for July 28th and warrants.
Is that what you got, Nancy?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm
Thank
going
you.
to stay abstained because I wasn't present. Thank
Right.
you. Sorry.
That's okay. No, better to check. Anyway, we have one person signed up for public comment, Kelly Carroll on mental health violence.
Hi, Kelly Carroll, Bennington. Last week's violent attack at Donovan's Irish Pub was a terrifying reminder of how quickly public safety can be threatened. I'm incredibly thankful that no lives were lost and that no one was seriously injured. A true miracle given the circumstances. I want to express deep gratitude to the Bennington Police Department and all of our first responders. While others flee from danger, they run toward it. Their courage deserves not only our thanks, but our full support. 2 of our own select board members were present that night and experienced the trauma firsthand. I hope this brings a renewed understanding of just how urgent and serious public safety is in our community. This is also a chance for us to reflect on how we govern and to strengthen public trust by ensuring that discussions around public safety happen in a more open, transparent, and inclusive way. This incident involves serious mental health issues. I challenge our state leaders to take meaningful action where criminal justice and mental health intersect. We need policies that prevent these dangerous situations from escalating. And we must not place individuals who pose a clear threat to others in facilities like nursing homes, and that includes Bennington's Mission Care. They are simply not equipped to handle that level of risk. Just look at the recent case of James Perry in northern Vermont. He murdered his own daughter, and through a plea agreement, not a trial, just a plea agreement, he was found to be not guilty by reason of insanity. And now the state and the Vermont Department of Mental Health are considering nursing home placement for him and others like him. This is deeply concerning. We need secure, specialized facilities, not stopgap solutions that put vulnerable people at risk. We were very lucky this time. Above all, I want to end by saying again how truly thankful I am that no one was seriously injured, and deeply appreciative of the Bennington Police Department's quick response that helped prevent something far worse. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Is there anyone that would wish to speak that didn't have the opportunity to sign up? Sarah?
Thanks, Sarah Perrin, Bennington. So this is one of my favorite things to announce every year. I'm here to remind everyone about the Bennington Food Truck Festival. It's this Saturday, 11 to 7. As many of you may remember, it's downtown Main Street. We close off school to Pleasant, and then Pleasant onward to the splash pad. And so it's so hot, the splash pad might be very useful. We will have Polish, Jamaican, Mexican, Greek, Thai, Indian, and our local Afghan food. This year we'll be offering, the Bike Hub will be offering to babysit your bikes. So they'll be having that service. And we'll be having music all day. And the beer garden will be open as well by Madison's. So I hope to see everyone there, and if you're not, maybe next year. So, thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to anything?
Point of order. Could we make it clear to the public that Ms. Perrin's comment is not part of our select board issues here, that she is speaking as a private citizen?
Yep, so noted. Thank you. And in response to Kelly's comment, thanks actually for bringing that up. Both Jackie and I were there that night, and I did speak to the chief and ask him to convey our thanks for the response of the officers. And I also want to thank the staff. That they were really incredible and kept their heads and made sure that everybody stayed safe. It was an incredibly chaotic situation, but it was handled, I think, by everyone in the best way that it could have been. So, thanks. All right. So next, we have Jack Rossiter-Munley with an update from the Multicultural Center.
Jonah's just going to plug in the presentation real quick. Just a little bit. All right. I am Jack Rossiter-Munley, and I have the pleasure of being the Director of Programs and Community Engagement for the Bennington County Multicultural Community Center. The Multicultural Center is a vibrant arts, culture, and human services organization located right here in downtown Bennington at 120 Union Street. We began our life here in Bennington as part of the local refugee resettlement effort. And I want to talk just a little bit about the comprehensive work that we do, both helping people from around the world start new lives here in Bennington and in the United States more generally, and then also the community projects and programs we undertake, not only to address the needs we hear about from the people we work with directly, but also to make this a more connected, more vibrant, and more resilient community for all residents. So refugee resettlement is an international process. People who have been displaced from their home countries because of fears of violence register as refugees through the United Nations and then arrive to a new country to start their lives. The Multicultural Center is a branch office of the Ethiopian Community Development Council, one of the 10 resettlement agencies that does this work nationally. And through that relationship, we have helped people from around the world start new lives here in Bennington. This used to be a pretty straightforward process, in as much of a straightforward process as it could be. People would often wait years, sometimes decades, in refugee camps before being matched to a new country to call home. Here in the United States, refugee status as a specific immigration status used to be a pretty straightforward process for people who would arrive, have the support of a resettlement agency, and then be on a pretty clear pathway to permanent residency, or what we also commonly call a green card, and then citizenship. That, as of January of this year, is no longer really the case for a number of reasons. The first being that refugee arrivals on the federal level were halted as of January 20th of this year. So no one is arriving through that process. What that has meant for us locally is that there are many families who arrived and have been waiting, in some cases years, for family members to join them. And because those family members are registered as refugees and have been going through this international process, it is unclear when those families will be reunified. There were also a number of people who arrived in late January who had family members scheduled to arrive in early February, and it is unclear when those families will be reunited. There are a couple of instances of people who were supposed to travel, and because of illness or a minor clerical error, their travel dates were delayed, and now it is unclear when they will travel. However, at the same time, we have not slowed down our work because on this side, there are still some limited ways for people to flee danger and start new lives here in the United States, and we're committed to facilitating that in any way that we can. Which brings me to special immigrant visas. So this is a specific status. We worked with people who had this status before that is reserved for people who worked closely with the U.S. military, mostly people in Iraq and Afghanistan, and people who have special immigrant visa status are still able to travel to the United States through a resettlement type program, and they're eligible for services through us in that way. We have developed a partnership with an organization called No One Left Behind that is currently helping people escape from Afghanistan, conduct their exit interviews at a U.S. embassy in Pakistan, and then through their own work can pay for their travel to the United States, where we can work with them providing all of the services that we provide. So for people who had been arriving through the refugee resettlement process, or for anyone who's still arriving through this SIV process, we help identify housing, we help connect people to employment, we do cultural orientation work adapting to the local community and life in the United States, and we take a comprehensive approach to our case management and community building, and we have welcomed people from all around the world. Currently, this is the only pathway that remains for people to escape, especially right now, from Afghanistan where they're in danger, and come here and be supported by our office. Now, that is only one part of our work. And a lot of that most intensive work happens right when people arrive. However, we take a very serious commitment and we take a very broad view to what it means to be a multicultural center in a community and what it means to be located where we are on 120 Union Street in the heart of downtown Bennington. We see ourselves as part of a network of welcome that people come into when they come to this community, and that is one of the things that we hear about most often from the people we work with. People who choose to build their lives here on a longer-term basis, as well as people who have family, relative, or work opportunities that take them away from Bennington eventually. What they will to a person say is that even though there is an opportunity or a family member in another part of the country that they will eventually go live with, they value and remember the type of welcome that they received here. And that's a testament to the caring work of the people who are the staff at the Multicultural Center, a committed group of young people from around the world, but it is also the volunteers and community members that people meet. We recently had a couple of people who left briefly to do some work training through their company in another state and come back, and they talked about how different their experience was in towns that weren't Bennington. That at work, people didn't talk to each other the way they did here. On the street, people did not say hello to each other the way they did here, and they just did not feel as welcomed or at home on a day-to-day basis. With this understanding of the welcome that this community can provide, as well as being consistently and conscientiously engaged with the challenges that not only the people we work with, but every resident of the county faces, we've undertaken a number of community projects and programs that leverage all of the skills of the staff of our center, the gifts of the members of the refugee community, as well as addressing their needs and those of others. One of the most noticeable is our public art projects. You can see how transformed our space is from this time last year. This has all happened literally since we were here last year in August. The murals that are on the outside of our center are only the beginning. These were created with collaborative design input from members of the refugee community. The mural that goes along the side of our building depicts the 4 seasons of Vermont because there was a strong feeling that people wanted the warm welcome they received here in Vermont represented. And we have continued to be in contact with refugee artists and other community members to expand collaboratively designed murals around our space on adjoining buildings. Our neighbors, the Tutorial Center, are open to having our designs expand across their building, and this garage that you can just see in the corner here is also destined for a redesign. We recently, the board heard from ACT Bennington and some of the questions and concerns that Bennington's youth have about their amount of, the amount of belonging they feel in downtown. We've taken that really seriously and have talked with them about how to involve youth in some of the collaborative design and painting processes that will go into expanding this, which is our first major public art project. We want this to turn into the Bennington Mural Square, with expanded art material, with expanded art, and also eventually a redesign of our parking lot space that we share with Tutorial Center to facilitate not only our work, but also serve as a downtown gathering space. We have also expanded our gardening and farming projects, which includes, and you'll see it right here, the first community garden in the town of Pownell. But there's one particular part of this that I want to highlight, or two. One is that we now have, because of the abundance of our various growing spaces, a farm stand that is open during our business hours in front of 120 Union Street. And it contains a wide variety of produce as well as fresh bread, or today we had handmade greeting cards. Everything there is available by donation, and because of the abundance, it's also available to members of the refugee community. This is a way for us to expand local food access to fresh food in downtown, and it's also a way to grow more culturally responsive foods in the area. The main development from this project is that in collaboration with the BCRC, we have received a $60,000 Farm to Institution grant to work with the school district on transforming the grounds of Molly Stark Elementary School in perpetuity into a hands-on environmental education environment with a rewilded area as well as example gardens and additional food growth. We began with some volunteer coordinated work days at the school this spring, but that grant funding will carry us through 2 years of work with the school district to turn those grounds into something really special for the students there and be an opportunity not only directly for the students at Molly Stark, but also for students within the broader SVSU district. So we're really excited about that as an ongoing community project. We are also developing a language learning center in our downtown location in collaboration with all of the public libraries in the county. Aaron, who is here today, has been spearheading that project and meeting with the various library directors and community staff at the different libraries. We traveled up to Marlborough College in May, and we retrieved about 2,000 volumes from their library as it was being shut down that will be the underpinnings of our multilingual collection that will continue to grow. And it will include not only physical objects like all of these different books, but it will also have digital and other kinds of learning materials. This is an opportunity for the people who we work with who are practicing English, but we also are very conscious that this can be an opportunity for all members of the community who are interested in learning another language. There are literally dozens of languages represented in the local refugee community, and we want to make sure that anyone who is interested in learning another language can have the opportunity to access not only physical materials, but also programming that can help meet their needs. We also host a very large number of community education events as well as cultural events. We celebrated Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Fitr. We had an iftar event in collaboration with Bennington College. We celebrate Shab Yalda, which is a Persian celebration similar to a solstice celebration in December. And we also hosted Know Your Rights trainings in collaboration with the Vermont Asylum Assistance Project and Migrant Justice. This is Jill Martin-Diaz, director of the Vermont Asylum Assistance Project in our space, sharing information with community members about the rights that they are entitled to. Of course, you knew it was coming. All of this good work is underway, and as with the warm welcome that the people who we serve directly experience, we are gratified by how much our work has been taken on and embraced by the community, both the direct resettlement work we do, but then also the community projects that continue to grow as we speak to others about them. But 82% of our funding is federal, and all of it is either already gone or under intense threat and uncertainty. So in March of this year, we launched our Deep Roots Clear Skies fundraising campaign with the goal of raising $750,000, which represents about 1 year of funding for us. And that is funding for everything: continued resettlement work, all of the community projects and programs we have, staff of the center, and direct assistance to people as needed. So far, we have raised $105,500 through direct donations and through grants. We continue to aggressively apply for grants, but a lot of grants are more project-based than operating costs-based, as you can imagine, and so we continue to fundraise diligently. I do want to announce that through an anonymous donor, everyone take note, through the end of this month, August, any donations up to $10,000 will be matched. So we're really hoping people take this opportunity to donate because your money will be doubled. If anyone wants to speak more about donating to the center and keeping all of this good work alive, you can reach out to us at benningtoncountymcc@gmail.com. And if you're interested in being part of our current effort, number one, if you're watching at home on CAT TV or anyone here who's inspired and has their phone with them, you can use this QR code to donate to our online platform. And these right here are the different sponsorship levels associated with our current campaign. So if you want your name to be up on the wall and to be a part of ensuring that this effort is something that can be sustained and continue to add value to our local community, please take note, and we would be very honored to have as many names as possible, excuse me, as many names as possible added to that wall. There are currently 6 full-time and 1 part-time staff person at the Multicultural Center who do a wide variety of different work, both related to our direct support for refugees and SIV holders, as well as our community projects and programs. And I would love to have a chance to talk about all of them, but I just want to highlight 2 who are actually people who arrived through the refugee resettlement program. The first is Saeed Shirsha Sadat, who is here with us tonight. In 2024, he was honored as an emerging leader in Southern Vermont by the Southern Vermont Chamber, and Sarah Al-Janabi, who works with us, who this year was honored as the Young Woman Leader of the Year. So not only do we have many, many people throughout the county who have arrived through our resettlement programs who are adding in many different ways to the community, but we have people like Shirsha and Sarah who have been noted not only for their work directly through us as the Multicultural Center, but also for the ways that they have taken it upon themselves to become involved in the community and try and make this a more caring, more resilient, more connected county overall for everyone. So that's the basic update on where we are. We are in a state of sort of whiplash. Everything on the ground and everything in the community is going very well, but the funding is being pulled out from under us. And we are very excited to make this, the Multicultural Center, refugee resettlement, and support for all people in the community, something that is sustained, something that is not, it was really nice, we tried it one time, and then it kind of went away, and wouldn't it have been great if it stuck around? No, we as a community can come together and make sure that this work is sustained and continues to grow. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Do you have any questions from the board? Nancy?
Jack, several months ago, did you say you had to have the money raised by next month?
Our goal is to raise as much as possible by the end of September of this year.
And what will happen in the end of September if you're still quite a ways away from making that goal?
So the end of September will be the end of the federal fiscal year. There will not be any immediate changes at that time, but it is unclear what will happen to remaining federal funds after that date. That would be a chance for there to be resets in some of the funds that are multi-year from the federal government or that are up for like renegotiated agreements through our federal refugee resettlement agency that we work through. So it's about guarding against that amount of uncertainty. So there wouldn't be immediate changes, but that's also a major dividing line for us in terms of knowing where money is coming from and how it flows. So we really are focused on that sort of financial responsibility and resilience.
Jim?
Thanks. And thanks, Jack, for the presentation and for the good work that you folks do. I've always thought that it's extremely important and valuable work, and having been somewhat involved since the onset of the initiative, and I think, you know, the efforts you've made to welcome people to the community and integrate them into the community and to the local economy is extremely valuable to Bennington. And I recognize your noted funding challenges, and one of my concerns is keeping something going. I mean, I'm wondering, kind of expanding on Nancy's question, if you don't reach your funding goals, do you have a plan to sustain a base level of operations going forward?
Yes, we would be able to sustain some level of existence, but we would prefer not to have to be. Part of this is coming again from where we are in terms of our presence in the community, where everything we have underway is growing and is supported by people, by other kinds of physical donations. Solving for the money is the big part. Yes, we could probably continue in some form, but again, not wanting to shrink back too far and really seeing the scale at which we operate and the support of the communities that we operate in as an opportunity to sustain ourselves at our current capacity in a way that many refugee resettlement and multicultural centers are not able to around the country. This is an opportunity for us in Bennington County to be different and to do something different that can then be an example to other places around the country of what it looks like when you have a successful effort underway.
Anyone else?
Yeah. Yes.
Sarah?
Jack, I see the funding challenges, and we know the funding challenges that you've had. I'd like to encourage you to take the opportunity on Saturday to really use that, the QR code and anything that you have to your advantage, to really put that out there. And I think this will help as well, but really use that platform that you have on Saturday to raise those funds. Absolutely. And I think that match also can help if you can put that out there to people that are there.
Definitely.
So please use that to your advantage.
Thank you, yes. And to say it again, through the end of August, there's a $10,000 match from an anonymous donor. So if anyone gives during this month, your money's doubled, which we really appreciate.
Anyone in the audience? All right. Jack, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was great. All right, next. We have Chief Paul Doucette with us with an update from our Bennington Police Department.
Look at those two good-looking guys up there, huh? No, go back, go back. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Before I start, Jack, that was impressive. We all know that Bennington leads the way in many areas, and I wish you the best of luck. We're so. This is not a political statement, but there's just so many changes in the federal government right now. It's disheartening. We're experiencing some things with FEMA right now, and not sure where we're going with emergency management at this point. And emergency management is key to our success here in Vermont when you look at all of the things that have happened. So I do wish you and your group the best of luck, and I did enjoy your presentation. And I do agree with Jack. Statewide, Lieutenant Grandy and I get to talk to lots of people, and when we welcome people into our community, because Bennington is a welcoming community, it is nice to hear that their best experiences were in Bennington. So, good work. So, here we are. We're here. Lieutenant Grandy is with me in the back. We want to just bring you up to speed on give you our quarterly report. We do have it set so that I know I always get in trouble for going over, so we're going to monitor Paul Doucette's time here at the podium. That doesn't count, though, all the nice things I said to Jack, because I wasn't planning on that, but it needed to be said. It needed to be said. So with that being said, I just wanted to start out and talk to everyone and kind of toot our own horns a little bit here. We kind of kept it on the down low. Back this spring, Lieutenant Grandy and I went to the FBI Leader Conference, and while we were there, we learned about a brand new program the FBI LEADA was starting. It's called the FBI LEADA 5-Star Chief Executive Institute. It's a 2-week master's level program, and this one was held in Smyrna, Delaware. We thought that of the 500 plus people that were at the conference when we heard about this, we agreed that we would put in for this because it was the beta part of the program. It was the first time it was instructed, and we wanted to be, again, the first. And so we both submitted applications for this program, not thinking that we would be accepted, being from Bennington. Where's Bennington? Everybody asks that. Where's Bennington? And but we put Bennington on the map. There were 31 law enforcement officers from across the country representing 19 states in Delaware, and we graduated 24. So it was a 2-week, again, master's level program. We learned quite a bit, but it did require lots of class participation and lots of homework back in the hotel room. There wasn't going out after class or anything like that. I have pictures of Lieutenant Grandy, not here today. He was very studious. He was very worried, and I said, we're just going to go with it because it required a lot of speaking in front of the group. So next slide, please. So we wanted to just briefly talk about New Experience Camp. This year we had 25 participants. So Southwest Tech is a sponsor. The kids got to make some really cool bird feeders, for example, at Southwest Tech. Next slide. Look at that young man, so happy, shooting a .338 Lapua Magnum up at Hale Mountain Fish and Game Club, and getting some excellent instruction from that good-looking guy right there. And next slide, please. Ooh, and listen, Ryan Rakana, who's an officer with us, he felt like he was part of the New Experience Camp. He volunteered almost every day, and we took him out, and he too got a new experience and caught that beautiful fish. However, there was a young man who caught a fish that was much bigger than that, and but in this photo here, it's really working side by side with the kids, putting the bait on the hooks and letting them throw lines out, and Ryan and I did sneak away for 5 minutes, and I don't know how he did it, but he caught that beautiful fish. Can't tell you where, because Mark Sawyer will get mad at me. Next slide. Wow. So we wanted to also let you know that at the Bennington Police Department, long awaited, we finally were able to get through our promotional process, and so Dan Ferrara, Corey Briggs, and Keith Dyott were all promoted to the rank of sergeant, and we had our little ceremony up at Willow Park with the beautiful Bennington Battle Monument behind us. These are our corporals: James McCauley, Nick Jones, Ryan Rakana, and Sean is there as well, being flanked by Lieutenant Grandy as I administered the oath. So we had 7 officers promoted, 3 to sergeant and 4 to corporal, and now we move forward and we hope to fill some of the vacancies we have, and we'll get back to that. This is Sean Madigan with his children. They were so proud of him, and I just really wanted to share that because I wanted to let you all know that we are a big family. Not just the police department, but the town staff and in the community. And his kids were so proud of him. They wanted to touch his shiny new badge, and it was just a fantastic morning. Just another group photo, you know, and as you can see, Stark is down in the lower left-hand corner, and we swore him in as a K-9 for the Bennington Police Department on the same day. Next. Assistant Town Manager Dan Monks and our Human Resources and Contracts Administrator Michelle Johnson were present to witness the ceremony, and that is the entire command staff that was newly promoted at the Bennington Police Department, again in one of my favorite spots in Bennington. So, that is our newest member of the Bennington Police Department, who graduated from the Vermont Police Academy on July 8th of 2025. That is K-9 Grizzly with his handler, Rob Morawski. And not an altered photo. That dog can actually fly. He is absolutely amazing. He's very obedient, and there is definitely a bond between he and Officer Morawski. They are currently certified as a K-9 patrol team, and Grizzly is very protective of Rob and vice versa, and he will fit in very nicely at the Bennington Police Department. It took 560 hours of time for Rob and Grizzly to be certified as a K-9 patrol team, and next month in September, Grizzly and Rob will be back at the Police Academy for narcotics training and detection. Oh my, there he is. So that is K-9 Stark. After getting sworn in, we were able to acquire this picture from Mike Albans at the Bennington Banner, as several of these pictures were taken by Mr. Albans. I threw that up there because everybody loves Stark. Look how cute he is. And you know what? Never calls in sick, shows up for work when he's supposed to. He's fantastic. So, Bennington Night Out. Bennington Night Out went very well this year. We had lots of people up at Willow Park. I know a couple of you were there. Up at Willow Park, some members of the Select Board were there. We had one member from the Community Policing Advisory Review Board there, and we had 360 backpacks to give away. We gave out most of them. Lieutenant Grandy was on the grill. Whoa! And he cooked a lot of food, and we almost ran out of food. I believe he had one package of hot dogs left. That was it. And we're very appreciative of all of our sponsors. There was a very large ad in the Bennington Banner this weekend. I'm not going to go down our list of sponsors, but in this photo here, in the center, the best looking one of the group, that is Ashley. She is assigned to our office by the Vermont Army National Guard. She's an analyst, and she really helped us put together Bennington Night Out this year. I told you, there he is, and on the grill, and it was busy and it was hot, and one of your board members, Sarah Perrin, was also there making lots of cotton candy with a huge line, and it was the same for Michelle Johnson and Melissa Courier and Tammy Roy, all members of the town staff. On the other side, with their popcorn machine, they had a line too. So between hot dogs, cotton candy, and popcorn, there were lots of lines, but we got through it very quickly. Next slide. Lots of backpacks. We talked about that. You can see the group here. Fina Auto Mall, formerly known as Bennington Auto Mall. We moved all the backpacks using 2 of their trucks. We had a little funny up there. We had a raffle. We gave away 6 bikes that were donated by Walmart. And then I told everybody that the next winning ticket was going to be for the Chevy 2500 diesel motor. And you could hear a pin drop. And then I had to tell everybody I was lying. I don't know how they think they would get it for free, but it was funny, I thought. You know, it wasn't a Dodge because people would have just ran away. No, just kidding. Next. So there's another photo of Grizzly taken by Mike Albans at Bennington Night Out. We did swear in Grizzly, and he is, like I said, he's fantastic. You'll see him out and about in the community, and you can always speak to Officer Morawski. Don't speak to Grizzly, speak to Officer Morawski first, but I thought that was a great photo, and we wanted to share that. Next. Whoops. So our friends from the Vermont Army National Guard flew down from Burlington. Major Davis is all the way to the left, and they were a huge hit this year at Bennington Night Out. That was another line. Never mind the cotton candy and the popcorn and the hot dogs and stuff. There was a huge line, both sides of the helicopter. That helicopter came in from the east, and the helicopter got put down right in the field, and the pilot was absolutely amazing. The pilot was not Major Davis, but she was absolutely amazing, and they already want to book for next year. And special shout out to Buildings and Grounds, who made all of this possible for us. Some things had to be moved so we could put that helicopter down. It wasn't as simple as just flying a helicopter here. There was a lot of pre-work that had to be done to make sure that we could actually put the helicopter down at Willow Park, and so we had a great time. Grizzly is just everywhere. Grizzly will eventually train with the Vermont Army National Guard. It will require that he wear goggles and some other protective gear, but we put him in the helicopter just to see how he was going to act, and he thought he owned it. And no one went near him to challenge that. So, but we are excited that the Vermont Army National Guard will be coming down and training with us, and later this summer and again in the spring. So Grizzly will get his opportunity. So, still a tough one, my friends. K-9 Gracie. We still love her. We miss her. The reason why K-9 Gracie is up here is the K-9 Gracie Memorial Training Yard will be dedicated to Gracie this coming Saturday, August 16th, on Battle Day, over on across from Molly Stark School at our Operation Isaac facility. The training yard is complete, and I don't want to give away all of the details because then people won't come, but we will dedicate the training yard to her, and there's going to be a memorial there, and she was amazing. We miss her. She was not always, she was kind of like me when I landed in Stewart's office. Next slide. On occasion, she did land in the lieutenant's office, but we're still going to dedicate the training yard to her, and we're looking forward to that. So again, Saturday, well before the food truck festival and other events going on, I know that the fire department wants to be there. Originally, we were going to do it at 9, but we're going to do it at 8:30 because it just fits everybody's schedule. We want to make sure that everybody that wants to be there can be there. Loved, missed, and will be remembered. So, also want to share with you that some of our communication staff are trained and certified as car seat safety technicians, and we are doing car seat safety inspections and installations at the Bennington Police Department, and this is our communication specialist, Kimberly Krozik. I think it's important that we share information so that people know that that service is available from the police department, and so I thought I would share this with you. It's a lot more than just putting the car seat in the car and hooking the strap. We got to make sure it's secure and it gets inspected. A little more community involvement. This is now Sergeant Dan Ferrara. He decided to take on a request from some of the kids that were racing up at the BMX track. He did not fare well when he was racing the other kids. In fact, I think he finished second from last. And I asked him, I said, Dan, what happened? And he said, Chief, I didn't want to crash and put you down one more. So, but he did have a lot of fun with the kids. The kids teased him immensely. I was there. I actually took that photo because he could not get his bike airborne like they could, and I felt like I did not want to see the bike go airborne, but I do want to share with you that we are up at Willow Park, we are riding the BMX track, and we're out in the community doing things that we should be doing as a community-oriented law enforcement agency. Perfect. So with that being said, I have a couple minutes, I just want to share with you that we are doing our best to recruit and retain law enforcement officers, currently working with Jonah Spivak, and we worked with Greg Nesbitt to get some updated photos for our website, and we just went through an interview process. We narrowed it down and interviewed 5 folks, and our goal, quite honestly, is to see if we can get 2 or 3 people out of the 5 that we narrowed it down to. So we're driving forward with that. When would they go to the academy? If they get through the entire process, their academy class would start in February of 2026. And we would not realize their services until May of 2026. We're also, Lieutenant Grandy and I, teaching him a little bit more about budgeting, and we are preparing for fiscal year 2027. Hard to believe since we're only in 2025, but that's reality in how we do things. Community Policing Advisory Review Board training. We do have new members on the Community Policing Advisory Review Board, and we are, their backgrounds have been submitted, their background checks have been submitted, and we are working on putting together a training program for them, which we will hold very soon. There was a question that someone had that was submitted prior to tonight about fair and impartial policing training. Fair and impartial policing training, as I've explained to most all of you in the past, is required every other year in Vermont law enforcement. And this year, 2025, is the year for mandatory fair and impartial policing training. And I am pleased to tell you that every sworn member of the Bennington Police Department that's required to have fair and impartial policing training has completed that training. And we have until the end of the calendar year to get that done, but it is complete. So I'm now at 16 minutes. I went over a little bit more than that because of Jack. And I am happy to answer anyone's questions on the board or anyone's questions from the community before I conclude.
Thank you very much. We'll start with the board. Nancy?
A couple of questions. I'm interested to know what we pay police officers in Bennington. How does it compare to what other towns are paying officers up to 30 or 40 miles from Bennington?
So certainly, that's a great question. I did not bring it up, but I will tell you that information has come together, and I just submitted a binder to our Assistant Town Manager, Dan Monks, comparing salaries from 2 other municipal law enforcement agencies within 45 miles of Bennington that have working agreements. And we also have collected some information from agencies within close proximity to Bennington that do not have working agreements. They're not unionized. So I don't have that information right here in front of me, but I did put it together. And Mr. Monks we met this morning, in fact, to just ensure that he has that binder. And we do have that, but I can tell you, the Bennington Police Department is not compensated as well as others within close proximity. But I am assured that we're going to work on that because that will definitely help us with recruiting and retention.
Okay. Each year in the town report, You provide a report that breaks down all the calls the department has gone on, and you break it down by the types of calls. I find it very informative, and I don't know how many people still look at the town report. Would this be something you could provide on a monthly basis so our citizens start to understand how busy you actually are and the types of calls that you're going out and dealing with?
I mean, that's something that we can certainly consider. I don't know if I'd want to do it monthly, or it might be easier to do it quarterly and add 5 minutes when we come and do our quarterly report to the select board. I think that would be a little bit easier. A breakdown of some of the major things that we're working on. I would love to do that. In our, we used to do things like that, and then I don't really know what happened. I don't know if people got bored with it or whatever, but the bottom line is it's very easy to do, and I could put that together and report to you quarterly. Like the last 5 minutes of this, I could go over our statistics for the previous 3 months, if that's helpful to you.
I think it would be helpful to post it someplace where people could actually look at it. I don't think a lot of people understand the amount of work and the types of calls you're going on. What Kelly brought up earlier, I agree with her 100%. We're very fortunate to have the police department. I don't think a lot of people understand. I certainly don't know all the types of calls that you're going on. And I think if it means we need to pay our officers more so we can get fully staffed, that would be information that I think would be helpful to provide to the public so that when we do have discussions, people can understand how valuable the department is and the types of work that you are doing.
Thank you for that. Tomorrow morning is monthly staff meeting with Mr. Monks and Jonah and Cam. Maybe we can just meet for a few minutes, because maybe, Jonah, we could come up with something on the police department website where we could post quarterly, quarterly statistics, major crimes, traffic stops, whatever. I think that's a great idea. But, yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jackie?
Hi, Chief. Thanks for a great presentation.
Thank
Love
you.
the photos. Love to see Grizzly and all of the canines. You mentioned that Grizzly is going to get some training through the Army National Guard, that maybe the rest of the department is also going to participate in some training exercises with them. Could you elaborate a little what the nature of that training is?
Sure. It involves the use of helicopters as an example for search and rescue. It has nothing to do with tactical missions or anything like that, but it is more about search and rescue and using the Vermont Army National Guard as a resource, as we have done in the past.
Great.
And it does require, I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. I just want to say, it does require yearly training in order, so if Paul Doucette and Cam Grandy, for example, are trained and can fly with the Vermont Army National Guard, it does require that we participate yearly in order to keep that certification. So, yeah. Next.
That's great. That's great. I guess dovetailing a little on the topic of training, you mentioned that you're putting together a training program for the new Seaport members. Am I right in understanding that to mean that there's not like a predetermined set of training that those members receive, that you sort of update that training every year, or how does that?
Yeah, maybe there's maybe I didn't say it right. I know what I said. You're right. That's how I said it. But what I'm saying is, when I say I'm putting it together, I mean I'm trying to line up the people that we need to be there. Okay. The training is still consistent with what we've been providing for a couple of years now, but it's a matter of getting those people lined up so that they can be there. So, for example, our Human Resources and Contracts Administrator, Michelle Johnson, will come in and talk about contracts, the personnel manual, and what we have to follow, and things like that. So it's just a matter, when I say I'm putting it together, it's just trying to line people up. We do have a set standard of what we're instructing these people.
Okay, great. You're doing a great job helping carry me through the questions I have, actually. I imagine that coordinating those schedules is tough being down on staff and trying to figure that piece out. You said that you were looking to hire 2 to 3 people out of this round that'll come on February, May 26. How does that compare with the needs that exist in the department? So you're looking to hire 2 or 3 out of how many that you need?
Well, I mean, we need 8. So, I mean, but we're trying to take this one step at a time. The current academy class has 17 Vermont State Troopers and 17 municipal, county, and municipal and county law enforcement officers. So the academy only has 34 participants. We call them cadets, 34 cadets at this time. People are struggling to hire law enforcement officers. And, when Nancy asked the great question, we're trying to look at Rutland and see how they've been successful, and Manchester, how they've been successful. And, we just need to take a serious look at our offerings, I think, and we have to find ways to draw people to Bennington. That's why it's great right now working with Jonah and Greg Nesbitt, and we're trying to update our website and let people know how community-oriented we really are here. Yeah, it's great to go out and stop cars and write tickets, and I know people want us doing that. I get those emails. But at the same time, it's great to show people that we're involved in the community and all the different things that we do. Not because Sarah's on the select board and I'm not advertising for her, but boy, Food Truck Festival draws a lot of people to Bennington. Garlic Town draws a lot of people to Bennington, and we're out there, we're doing our thing, we're chatting with people. We're not out there to write citations, and I mean, we will if we have to, but it just shows that the police are involved. It's no different than New Experience Camp or having a promotional ceremony up on the hill. It shows people that this community is actively engaged in the police department and the fire department, and that's how we want to draw people to our community.
That's great. Yeah, I certainly see the police around at different events, and it's always great to see them. They're always really personable, and they are very involved in the community. But that gives me a better understanding of what the challenges are with hiring, that it's not just this area. It is sort of a statewide issue. So, yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ed?
A couple of things. I want to first say that thank you for the questions that came from this board tonight so far. The clarity on the number of new hires and the timing and all that. And on that vein, I don't know if you have any intel on this, Chief, but in other professions, training has been streamlined, and I'll use that term for lack of a better one that's coming to my brain, but we've been able to onboard people, not I want to use the term more efficiently, because we don't want to train people less than we ever used to, but in today's climate, employment climate, particularly in law enforcement, has the state training been updated at all to reflect sort of who we are and where we are today and the kinds of people that we are attracting and the speed that we want them out on the street?
Yes. So Director Christopher Burkell at the Vermont Police Academy, the Chiefs Association, the Sheriff's Association, we're looking at alternate paths to a level 3 certification. It's a challenge. There is nothing like being in a classroom, getting hands-on training, which there would still be hands-on training if we went and virtual. For me, old school, I think it's class participation is important. Group projects are important. Working with your peers side by side, important. And there was just a survey that was sent out to all agency heads, and there was a survey that was sent out to every sworn member of the Bennington Police Department, asking for their feedback that goes directly to the director and to the criminal Justice Council. So the state is seeking alternate paths to a level 3 certification, and it's just a challenge getting there.
So on that, if you don't mind if I dig a little bit further, last time you and I talked about this, one of the frustrations, I came away from it with a frustration. I don't think you were frustrated. You're comfortable living with this. But the idea that an out-of-state certified police officer needs to enter the academy at the same level that a brand new cadet might seem to be a little bit, it seems to slow down the process to me.
Right. Vermont does have a waiver process, but it depends on what state you're from. We tried that with an officer from down south, brought him on board, tried to obtain a waiver, and the academy waiver committee would not accept his certification from the state that he was from. And I'm not going to say the state because people will know, and it's embarrassing. But we really did think that we could work diligently. Lieutenant Grandy worked diligently. We were side by side trying to figure things out. There may have been an angry phone call from the chief, but the bottom line is that we have to follow the same standards that everyone else has to follow. And, over in New York State, they have regional academies. We have one academy statewide. Yep. Massachusetts has different academies, but they have to live in a hotel room. Well, at $150 a night to live in a hotel room to go to a residential academy will cost the town of Bennington a fortune. We're lucky to have a fire academy and a police academy in Vermont that offers housing and meals. And the state pays for that, right? So I just think that we have to look at the big picture, and the state is looking at that, and I'll say it one more time, we are seeking alternate paths, but I think it's going to be a little bit before we actually experience that.
I think I want to make the point that I was not advocating for any sort of rushed training. I'm just thinking about the way that the world has evolved.
Yeah. I think, too, just quickly, so you can get your voice back, I'll talk for one more minute. I think it's important that you understand that every state has different laws. Every state has different levels of uses of force, as an example. Every state has different firearms training qualifications. And I think that we have to be very careful. I mean, in Texas, they'll shoot at moving cars. I mean, we try to, refrain from that here in Vermont. And I've had the training. I've been to the 6-hour academy where you do 30 miles an hour and you try to hit those targets as you drive by. The point of that is to show you that this is not really reasonable, shooting from a moving vehicle. So things are different in every state that you go to, and not to get back to how it started, but sometimes I think I don't want federal control in Vermont, but sometimes I think that we should have laws that are very simplified and are consistent, across the country. I mean, whether you like the guy or not, Donald Trump's now talking about marijuana. Where have you been, pal? I mean, geez. Oh, wait, that was a political statement. I apologize. I apologize. I'll be in Mr. Monk's office tomorrow. So strike that. But I'm just saying, I mean, things are just different. And that's why you have to come to Vermont and you have to go through the training in Vermont. Our juvenile laws are different. I mean, look at New Hampshire. They prosecute their own cases as a law enforcement officer. I mean, holy.
Yeah, so understood.
Anyway.
Understood, thank you. I want to end my comments with a couple of comments related to the community relationships and the involvement that everybody saw tonight through your presentation. I think it's important to realize the value of those things to residents who may not take advantage of or have the need to interact. Let's face it, the police organization is one that if we don't hear much, it's typically good news. And that's unfortunate, because getting to know your police department is a healthy thing to do. And I encourage people to take advantage of those sorts of opportunities so that the public involvement with the police department doesn't only come in, unwanted circumstances. That's all. Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome.
Clark.
Hi, good evening, Chief, and good evening, LT. I haven't forgotten you. So a couple of things popped to mind. You mentioned the young lady who was in OCPs there. Is a National Guard analyst working with you? Is she just an analyst who works for you who's in the National Guard, or is she somebody the National Guard is detailed to the department?
She is detailed to the department from the Vermont Army National Guard. We have had an analyst detailed to our office now for probably 6 or 7 years.
Now, I know in the past there's been discussions of an analyst position being funded within the department. That position would be in addition to this detailed person.
Yes, the Vermont Army National Guard position is specific to drug awareness, drug issues.
Okay.
An analyst position within the Bennington Police Department would be more specific to Project Alliance and the different projects that Lieutenant Grandy and I are involved in, BenStat, and things like that, people that can draw stats. We also, we have people call, for example, some of our educational facilities, we have to adhere to the Clery Act and things like that, where we have to provide crime data. And it's gotten to the point where our records clerk cannot be, and she's not, cannot be an analyst based on her workload. And right now, one of our communication specialists is working as an analyst and a communication specialist and an animal control officer, because we all wear multiple hats, and people don't realize that either, about all the extra steps that we have to take. So that's what that analyst does. So it's two different things. One would work, one works with our detective division. The other one would work side by side with the lieutenant and I, putting reports together. For example, Nancy had a great suggestion about crime data, and that's what that analyst position would be, is making sure that we're up to speed on that. So, great question.
Okay, and I heard you discuss the training at the Police Academy. You mentioned the troopers and the sheriffs and the community or the town, city police officers go through a parallel training at the same time, or are the troopers on a different track than the community folks?
No, that's what people need to understand in Vermont. We all go to the same academy. This is not New York where they have regional and a state police academy. Everyone goes to the same academy, whether you're a game warden, a deputy sheriff, municipal officer, a state trooper, you work for Department of Liquor Control, Cannabis Control, whatever the situation may be, everybody attends the same academy, one location, Pittsford, Vermont, and it's a great place to visit.
Okay, and my main thought in asking that question is poaching. We send someone there for training, they're there, and they realize, hey, these trooper guys, they're wonderful guys, man. Boom. They're out the door, or vice versa. Maybe our guys can put a buzz in a good man's ear and say, I think you'd like Southwestern Vermont. So that's my concern or question when you have this cross-training. What are the potential risks or benefits to having our folks trained in the same circumstance?
Yeah, but that word poaching, I have to tell you, it makes my skin crawl. I can't stand departments that poach, number one. I think that when you have put the time and resources into putting someone through a full-time academy, like the town of Bennington, and what it costs, $1,200 for body armor. In body armor, the person comes, they measure you, they fit you. When the body armor comes, we need to make sure it fits your body. $1,200 is a lot of money, and 2 years later, somebody goes and joins another agency because they're going to make $3 more an hour. Or, they're going to go and work for an agency that gets to go home at 2 o'clock in the morning every day. We're a 24/7, 365 agency. There's no changing that. There is absolutely no way we could ever operate less than 24/7, 365. And we do see those are things that we're not going to change in our working agreement. But, poaching is a serious thing. Usually, and we're not going to pick on any agencies, I'm going to tell you how it goes. Usually it is municipal to state. And when it's state to municipal, people get phone calls like it's a big deal. Not when it's the other way, though. And it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. We don't see the level of commitment, and this is not to blast anybody, but Clark, we don't see the level of commitment like we did. I mean, you take a look at the Bennington Police Department right now. There's some highly tenured law enforcement people on the Bennington Police Department. It really is our younger folks that they're looking at other things. There's other benefits at the end of the road when you come to retirement that we just simply don't offer here. And then when we start to offer things, Mr. Hurd was amazing a few years back. We offered something that others didn't have, and then when they find out, they're quick to jump, and now they're offering the same but better. So that's where we need to work together and make sure that now we're ahead of the game. It's like the turtle race, right? One gets ahead of the other, and we gotta, and then when you got to take cover, you get back in the shell. So I just think it's something that we're going to work on, and I know that we're going to work on it because, again, Mr. Monks and I met this morning, and Lieutenant Grandy is aware of the work that we have in front of us, and I think we have a very reasonable group of law enforcement people right now that want the Bennington Police Department to be successful, and I think we have a very solid foundation. We need to build on it.
And one other area of concern, timeline in terms of recruitment process, interviews, training, and so forth, and actually utilization. You mentioned the critical word there, commitment, and I guess I got too much gray hair. Young people just don't seem to have the patience for processes to play out. And in keeping with Mr. Wood's concern, what can we do to show results? I think young people are more responsive to seeing progress rather than say, okay, in 5 months, come back and we'll do this, this, and this. And I think it's going to be critical for us to recruit and retain younger people to actually show results and progress. I don't want them treading water and waiting, because while they're spinning their wheels, they may hear the sound down Route 9. Oh, they move pretty fast. And next thing you know, we've lost a good candidate.
Right. And I think part of what you're talking about, Clark, is that, and we're doing it now, we're bringing people into the chief's office, into the lieutenant's office, seeing what their areas of interest are, and seeing if we can get them specific training that they desire, but it also has to fit within the Bennington Police Department. Sure. And fit our needs. It's great to go off to some trainings, but if it's not going to be useful, then we have to look at that. But the bottom line is those are things that we are currently doing, and despite being short-staffed, we're holding our own. We're conducting extra duty detail assignments. You see us out and about. Don't blame me for the traffic problem on Northside Drive, but I'm just saying we're doing our best because people need to understand we're beautifying Bennington. Right? We're making it better. Those ruts in the road, they get taken out. We're putting roundabouts in. Yes, they're state projects. Yes, it's my people directing traffic, or the Sheriff's Department folks directing traffic. It's not their fault. It's just how the flow works. If the state of Vermont would let us do some work at night with lights, we wouldn't have the traffic flow problems during the day. Way above my pay grade, just saying, we're doing our best.
Okay. Well, let me just save the best for last here. So you talked about CPARP, and I heard Community Policing Review and Advisory Board.
Community Policing Advisory Review Board.
Yeah. Now, I remember back in the dark ages on the committee, community policing versus community police in the title. There's been a change there, and I've been asking my peers here where that change happened. I've gone back through documents and I can't find where community police became community policing. In my mind, community policing is not the same as community police. One's you're actually a policy and an action. So that's what I'm hoping to clarify it, when it became community policing versus the community police.
I guess that ING, I'll have to go back and look at my notes because I'm not trying to be funny. I don't know. I've always
I know you're not.
referred to it
That's why
as
I'm
the
asking.
Community Policing Advisory Review Board. And you know, they've, as you know, they've been very helpful with listening sessions and things, you know, and helping us with fundraising when we needed a new canine. And, you know, I'm not sure. Maybe that's my fault. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. But, you know, neither here nor there. It's a great group of people, and you know, and now we're gonna train 2 more people, and you know, I don't like the turnover, Clark. You brought it up. You know, it seems like we get going, we get people where they need to be, and then they're gone, and it's very frustrating because it just adds to the workload of the lieutenant and I, but we're going to do it because that's what we're required to do. You know, no one ever consults the police chief or lieutenant when changes are going to be made, and I understand that's probably not, that's probably, again, above my pay grade, but, you know, it just creates more work, and there's some great people in Bennington that think that the Bennington Police Department does wonderful things, and then there are some people that are super critical and they don't know anything about the Bennington Police Department and what we do. And I think that's, I'm going to go right back to Nancy and say that I think it's important, like she said, that we let the community know what's going on in Bennington, and we get those stats out there, and we get these new people trained on the Community Police Advisory Review Board, if that's what we're going to call it, and we drive on, and we are able to recruit and retain and make Bennington safe. I know that we have speeding problems, but it's the caseload is high, and we have to complete cases, and it's amazing how long it takes. And I think that some of the people that, we'll call it CPARB so I don't mess it up, I think that the CPARB folks that have spent time doing ride-alongs, it changed the way that they think, and it's been great working with members of the community. The promotional process, as an example, we had a member of CPARB work the process with us so that we had some community input. So that's that.
Well, final thing is, I can't speak for the rest of the board, but I think they say the same thing. I'm very happy with you, your officers, and the town staff in addressing what you need to do as a police department. And if there's anything I can do in my capacity as a select board member or a member of the community, my ears are always open. My mouth too, but my ears are always open.
Thank you. I know I've gone way over my time by 30 minutes. Just one last thing, quick shout out. As you know, the fire department is my responsibility also. This is a big week for the Bennington Fire Department. These members of the fire department work extremely hard to make Bennington Battle Day successful every year. This week, Thursday night, cruise in here at the firehouse. Friday night is Vegas night and chicken. If you haven't gotten tickets for chicken, please do that. Kids Day is on Saturday over at the Vermont Veterans Home, and the infamous Bennington Battle Day Parade is going to be on Sunday, and it kicks at 12:30. Bring your chair because I understand it's going to last about 2 hours, and Norm LeBlanc is going to be recognized during the parade this year. I think that was a great choice on behalf of the fire department. And one last shout out for the Food Truck Festival, because there's a lot of people that are interested in that. Lots going on this week, and buy those raffle tickets and support the members of the Bennington Fire Department. They do an amazing job, and they're here for us. So thank you.
Chief, quickly, all my questions were pretty much covered with the exception of the car seat safety program. Could you just tell people how they can get involved in that if they want to take advantage of it, please?
Yes, if people are interested in the car seat safety check program, they can call the office and ask to leave a message for a car seat safety technician, and Susan Galina or Kim Krozik are two of the folks. They'll call you back and set something up for you to come down to the police department, preferably not on a rainy day, and they'll come out and inspect your car seat to make sure that it's properly installed. And then, unfortunately, we did get rained out. We had a big event planned and where we had the state was going to come down and help us out. It was going to be a big thing, but we'll get to that eventually. But the car seat safety checks are important.
Okay. And does anyone from the community have anything they want to add?
About that.
Okay, I'll start with Kelly. You had your hands up first.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to the Bennington Police Department, but I also want to say a couple of things to the Select Board. I realize that wording is critical and important, and I would like to see you, instead of concentrating on I-N-G, I would like to see you concentrate on community. The National Night Out is one of the largest events that the Bennington Police Department does, and a couple of you were there, but some of you were not, and that includes CPARB's liaison, and other than Kate Koss, there were no other members of CPARB, community CPARB, there. And there are no members here this evening while the Bennington Police are giving their update. So I want you to think about those words. And then also, Ed, so thank you very much, because community is very important. And I also wanted to piggyback on a little bit about what Nancy said and some of the questions on training. So 8 officers down and training. They're going to have to do more training for some of the new members of CPARB, and they also have to do their annual training that's required either by the state or the federal level. And they all have to do that being 8 officers down. And then let's talk about the events. We've got a lot of great events going on in Bennington, and the officers have to be there if there's more than 75 people. So in addition to being 8 officers down and covering everything else from, and I don't know what all of the discussion was because I only saw some little bits and pieces, but sidewalk chalk, I don't know what was said. I personally would love to write some sidewalk chalk, but I did see a picture of somebody doing some artwork and an officer standing to protect them. 8 officers down, it might be necessary, but I'm not sure it's the best use of resources, in addition to some of the retraining, because there's personalities that you don't like. So that's my thoughts on that. I encourage you, when it comes to the working agreement, I think it's great that you asked for some of the comparisons on the salaries. You need to remember that some of our neighboring law enforcement localities, or whatever you want to call them, are not 24/7. Some of them are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Some of them don't take calls from 2 to 5 a.m. And we're very fortunate that we have 24/7, but a lot of that stuff falls back on them because they are 24/7. We have an absolutely fantastic town works department. They are worth every penny. You all negotiate their contracts, and you find value in them, and you pay them what they are deserved to have. And we are very fortunate that we looked outside of the box. I gotta give credit to RJ Jolly. Look at the talent, see what we can do, and help save us some money because we've upped the skill levels. We'll put that same commitment into the police department. Put that into what we're gonna do with the working agreement, with the levels that they gave. You have given a couple of incremental raises over the last couple of years, and I commend you for that. But if you look at what's going on with the economy, the cost of everything is going up, and what other competing law enforcement agencies are offering, we need to be competitive. We need to get that longevity, stop being penny wise and pound foolish, and getting them in there. We need to invest in them. Like the chief said, what's your interest? And if we can do that and it fits with the budget, let's do that training, because if we invest in our people, it's going to keep them. And that starts with you, and it starts with the public support, and it starts with community and worrying less about ING. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary.
Good evening, Erin Williams, Bennington, Vermont. In the interest of time, I will be very quick. I did want to ask another question about the car seat service that you offer. In general, is that something that there's a cost associated with for community members to access? And two-part question, any of our community members who might have language access needs, how would they go about getting that service?
Let's answer the first part. That's the easier one. There is no cost associated with this. It's a service that we offer. It was, we're talking about training, I mean, it was a 40-hour course. I mean, I know it's hard to understand that, oh, it took 40 hours for you to learn how to put in a car seat. Well, all the safety aspects, yes. So with that being said, there is no cost. If we had people with language barriers, more than likely I would reach out to my good friend Jack here and ask him. I mean, we do have Google Translate, but when you're going back and forth about a car seat, it may be easier to have somebody there that can help us out. It's no different than way back when we did bicycle helmets. We needed somebody there to help us out to explain the purpose of fitting the helmets and not just handing them out. So if that's something, Aaron, that you want to work with me on, happy to do it. You or Jack can send me an email, like if you had a group of people that we could address all at the same time, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
So we're happy to do that, and our techs would be, they would be ecstatic. Oops, sorry. They would be ecstatic to be able to help out,
Yeah.
I believe.
Thank you. I will be sending you an email.
Love it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, Chief Doucette, thank you very much. I will point out that the amount of time you're over is because we had questions.
Yes, I wanted that to be said. It was our fault, not the chief's.
The chief did keep to his time.
My wife told me you're not going to do this in 15 minutes. But again, I just big shout out. I appreciate all the questions, because it's very easy to stand up here and go over the things that we prepared for. But I do love the questions. Aaron, you had a great question. You all had great questions. And we'll address the issues that were brought up. But again, don't forget my friends in the fire department. Thank you.
All right, next we have Shannon Barsati with an update on the skate park.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So I was asked to give an update on the skate park, so I'm just going to jump right in. For those of you who don't remember, we're going to do a recap on the skate park funding and sort of how it came to be. There was a whole public process during the discussions around ARPA funding. We had an amazing turnout of supporters of the skate park, and the select board did designate $300,000 in the ARPA funding for the skate park, as well as $300,000 from the Penny for Parks Fund, which is a municipal tax that goes all towards public recreation. And then once we had that in motion, we said, okay, now we're going to do a campaign, because we had a design plan from Grindline Skate Parks, who designed and built the skate park. So we knew that the overall cost was going to be in the $900,000 range, and so we started a fundraising campaign. And then just an update on that, we received a $200,000 grant from the state, from the Downtown Transportation Fund, which it's kind of a funny name, but the purpose of that funding is also to really focus on attractions to your downtown, improving the elements of your downtown, but also bringing more people downtown. So that's part of the reason for the location of the skate park being right here adjacent to downtown. And then we received a $20,000 grant from the Recreational Facilities Grant. That's through the Department of Buildings and General Services at the state. And I think the most fun one was the Better Places Grant. So the way that works is the Agency of Commerce and Community Development has partnered with the Vermont Community Foundation, and they will provide a $40,000 grant if you're able to match it with crowdfunding campaign. And so I want to recognize some of our members of the skate park committee, if you guys want to raise your hands, because they all really organized that crowdfunding campaign and got the word out. And there was an additional over $67,000 that was raised in that campaign, which included some larger donations from some of our local banks and the hospital, as well as just a lot of small donations from the community. So that's the total raised. We actually went over our initial goal, and the total was $927,169 raised. And our final construction bill from Grindline, which they've completed their work at the skate park, was $891,262. And the additional funds beyond the grind line cost will go towards the work that's happening now that the town is completing with our Highway Department and Buildings and Grounds to finish the final grading, the landscaping, the installation of the lights, and the signs. So that's where we're at. And I don't know if anyone has seen the park. It's just right across. It's just incredibly beautiful, and we're very, very excited to open it to the public. And our town crew has done a lot of work just in the last few days. So if you haven't looked at it, you can see that, the work that they're doing to do the finishing. If you want to go to the next slide. So these are some pictures. It's hard to capture. You really kind of need a drone. So at some point we'll have to take some drone photos. But this shows one of the coolest features of the park is what's called a snake run. And so it starts with a deeper bowl here, but it actually becomes more gradual. So it's this is all a little bit more advanced, but it gets easier on the other end. And if you keep going through some of these photos, this is the bowl. So Bennington was really well known. Even before I started working for the town, I heard about the Cutting Edge, which was the indoor skate park in the Belmont Mill that was run by Nick Piedmonte. And so this is a recreation of that bowl from the Cutting Edge. If you keep going. So this area, again, it's hard to capture in the photo, but there's a lot. What I am so happy about how the park turned out is how much space there is for beginners and how there's enough room for different levels to really spread out so they're not too crowded. So this area that's demarcated here by the red was added on to the initial design after really working with the skate park committee. Particularly Cliff Dayton put a lot of effort into kind of looking at that, redesigning it with grind line, and raising some additional funds to create that expansion so that there could be this beginning area and have kind of an extra ramp on this side. And then you can see on the far part of the photo some other areas that are great for more kind of beginning skaters. If you go to the next slide. And then this is looking from Depot Street. So that what used to be the entrance there to the parking lot is now going to be closed to car traffic. So it'll just be a pedestrian entrance. And our Buildings and Grounds Department is going to put up a split rail fence and some landscaping there. But you'll still be able to approach by foot or bike or skateboard through the Riverwalk. So I think that this is going to be that view, which is actually a great view. So I think we're going to have to put a bench there too so people can watch the action from there. And if you keep going, this is also from this picture. The reason I took this one was to sort of show this is where, what was the original rail trail path ends, and then where the Riverwalk path, and then across from it you can see the rail trail. So the Highway Department's going to be putting a path to connect those two just right in front of the skate park. So that's going to be happening as part of the finishing project. And then the other thing that's just amazing about the location that I sort of didn't notice until the skate park was built, but everywhere when you're on this concrete skate park, you see the monument. So it's just very iconic. If you want to go to the next slide. And then these are action shots that were just taken a few days ago from Mark Sawyer from our Buildings and Grounds Department and RJ Chawley from our director of the Highway Department, doing the work that they're so good at, which was, coming in. They've got the talent on staff to do all of the finish grading. They added topsoil. This area that's covered in plastic here, those are the light posts. So once the grading is done, the lights are going to be installed there, so you'll have lighting all around the park shining in. And then this is conduit, sorry, that last one. This is the conduit for the electrical there that's going to the lights. And then the other thing that the select board asked about was what sort of signage we would have. So we're going to have originally it was going to be a donor wall, that we thought about incorporating into the skate park itself, but given that the walls are fairly low, we're going to do a nice metal sign that recognizes the donors to the skate park, and we'll also have at least, well, I think we'll have 2 of the skate park rules signs for sort of both entrances, one coming from the parking lot for those that are coming by car, and then one from the path. And these are the proposed skate park rules that were developed in partnership with the skate park committee, who looked at other similar skate parks like in Manchester and Burlington. And I'm not going to read through all of these, but it gives you a good idea of what that final sign is going to look like. We also looked at our other park signs at Willow Park and at the splash pad to try and merge those things. So I don't know if the select board has any other thoughts on that, or comments about the skate park rules, but we want to make sure we make it welcoming, but that we really let people know that they're there skating at their own risk, and they also younger children need to be supervised, etc. If you want to go to the next slide. So essentially the next steps are to complete those final pieces with our town crew. I wish I had a date for the ribbon cutting. I don't yet, because I need to go and talk to everyone and see what their estimate is on as far as how long they need the grass seed to be germinating before they want the park to open, for example. I know that RJ is also, if there's time, he's hoping to repave the parking lot as part of that process, so that work is all completely done. So, we're still a few weeks out, but as soon as we know the date, Jonah and I will work on an announcement and a press release, and we certainly want to throw a party as well. So that's it. I just thought I'd give a quick update and then answer any of your questions.
Thanks very much. I'll start from this end of the table at this time. Clark.
Maybe Dan would answer this better. You mentioned, I saw the funding you had. It looks like you're going to end up with, a fancy word, excess funds when the project's completed. Like there's excess funds.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say that, but yeah. I would say that those extra funds are going to go towards paying for like topsoil, completing the lighting, the paving, et cetera.
I was just wondering if, since we're using town staff, I didn't know if somehow we reallocate those funds back over into RJ's operating budget or whatever. That if possible, that was a question. And another thing, looking at that pops to mind, and since we're past 1984, I would feel safer if there was some sort of camera monitoring of the site.
Oh, that's a good point. We will have a camera on site. We've already been working with Nick Cave, who's our IT director, and he knows all of the coolest cameras. So he has been planning on this for some time, and the camera is going to be incorporated onto one of the light poles.
Since the chief didn't get out of here in time.
Yeah.
I don't know the idea of...
I'm just waiting. I love this skate park. I'm 57 years old, and I think the hospital funded it.
Yeah.
I'll answer your questions.
No, I mean the idea that the cameras overlooking, I don't know if, in terms of monitoring them where that might fall.
We've been working with Nick Cave on this. We definitely believe that there should be cameras there, just like we have cameras at the recreation center. And our communication staff, when time permits, they do monitor those cameras. I'm only joking about people getting hurt, but it's inevitable, right? I mean, no different than if you go cross-country skiing, you're going to fall and get hurt maybe. But the bottom line is that, if there was something happening at the park and someone was injured, the communication specialist can put that up on our new monitors that we have, and can give the rescue squad a play-by-play about what's going on. So the camera thing is absolutely a must, and the company is called Verkada, and Nick is currently working with them, and we're hoping to pipe those right into the police department. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it in action.
Great. Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
First fantastic pictures. I love seeing that new skate park with the monument in the background. Really excellent. And so awesome to see, we've talked before about public-private partnerships, but this is really just like the town with the community coming together, and that's such a great feeling. I was talking with one of the fellows actually from Grindline one day, like right as they were finishing up the project. He'd been working with them for, I think he said 3 or 4 years, and he's traveled all around the country building these parks. And he said, this is a good one, right? So I loved hearing that from him. I was talking to a friend of mine and sort of germinated some thinking around the skate park and wondering if there's kind of like buzz in like the skateboarding community. I don't know if there's like a name for that or whatever. And like what kind of advertising has been done, or like, is there a potential we could get like a well-known skater out to get like early access and like do some promotional video or something? I don't know, but I'd love to hear about any sort of advertising and the buzz that's in the community for this park opening in September.
That's a great question, and I'm going to defer that over to Nick. Do you want to answer? I mean, not to put you on the spot, but I think that essentially, or Sophie, hi Sophie. Tell us what you've been thinking about.
Yeah. Hello, Sophie Piedemonte. There is a lot of buzz going on between, and something that I've noticed that's really cool. I was living up in northern Vermont for a little bit, but coming down here to kind of attend select board meetings and different things so I could be involved with this project. And it's been kind of funny because I'm almost like the point of contact for a lot of people up north where they're like, okay, when's Bennington opening? When's Bennington opening? When's Bennington opening? Almost to like a point where I'm like, guys, can you stop asking me, please?
I know.
But, so yeah, tons of buzz, and from a lot of different people too. A lot of like quad skaters, bikers, skateboarders. So a lot of different facets are really interested, which I think speaks to the fact that there's something for everyone at the skate park. And then in terms of like pros and that kind of media, Tino Razzo is a pro skater for Supreme from Bennington, Vermont, and he's been involved, and my dad and him are super close, as well as his brother Mark Razzo, very prominent people in the skateboard community, so they're definitely in the loop for coming back to kind of skate it, check it out, spread the word, as well as a crew called the Warble. They're from like more Manchester area, but yeah, they're again super excited about the prospect of a new, or the reality of a new skate park in Bennington. And so yeah, they kind of, my dad's been talking to them too, and it's on their radar, and they'll probably come down and skate and make a cool video of them doing cool stuff. You should actually look up Man Ramp on YouTube. This guy was born in Bennington. I think he was raised more in New York area, but he like puts on a construction hat and holds up like a big piece of plywood, and like people skate on it. But he's stoked to see a new park come up in the town he was born. So yeah, a lot of really positive buzz, and I think a lot of people are going to come down to Bennington and skate.
Did you
and
say,
I do think once we have a definitive
Man
date,
Ramp, yes.
Okay.
Once we have a definitive date, I've talked a little bit with Justine and Chris and Cliff about also getting a band, really starting to get the word out to people. But we've been sort of on hold until we really, knew that okay, we can go forward with this date.
Excuse me, I didn't get your name, but did I hear you say bikes? We're going to use bicycles on this?
Yeah.
Bicycles,
Yeah.
skateboards, and you said something else.
And like quad skates, like the old school roller skates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or inline.
No, when
or
you said
inline
quads, I was
skates,
thinking
too.
ATVs out there. And
No.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, quad
I didn't hear
force.
that part.
skates.
Also scooters,
Yeah.
so, like
And
the
scooters.
are really popular.
Actually,
too.
yeah, I was talking to a scooter person at Manchester Skate Park the other day, and yes, scooters as well are very excited for this.
Yes, but I am gonna.
That's what I'm thinking.
Thank you, Sophie. And I am gonna lean on the skate park committee to help build the buzz and get the word out. And all of the people who donated, to the campaign as well. We'll really get the word out first.
Also, there is a Bennington Skate Park Instagram account that has been posting a couple update photos, as well as Grindline has posted probably 9 different things about the skate park build. They posted one straight up today about the progress, and so yeah, that's spreading the word. You should, if you look at Grindline's Facebook or Instagram, you can see there are so many comments on all the posts. Just people really eager to come skate it for sure. So, yeah, comment sections are really good to kind of check out the pulse on what people think, and it's all really positive. So, very cool.
Thanks, Sophie.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
My turn, okay. How many square feet, what's the square footage on the completed park?
I think it's a little over 16,000 square feet. I don't have the exact number, but that was the original design, and then there was a little bit added to it.
And the cost to the town to insure the skateboard park each year?
I should have that, but I don't. Dan, I know that we just worked with Michelle. I don't know, was there an additional cost?
It's a fairly nominal cost, but we could certainly get a quote for get
okay.
for you.
Yeah. I had to pass select board.
I know it is covered now by the town's insurance.
But I had somebody from the board about 20 years ago, a little longer, say they had checked and it was quite a bit, so I would be interested to know what that difference is.
I can find that out.
On the rules, I had 2 I wanted to suggest extra.
Do you want to go back to that rules slide, Jonah, just so we can see it? Yep.
I would ask for no loud music. Obviously, for special events, you'll have it. There might be a time you have bands or other things going. But I wouldn't want somebody to pull up with their car and crank their stereo, or somebody with a portable speaker. So nobody minds hearing a little music. But if people are there, I don't think somebody needs to be cranking the music, so everybody within a block has to hear it. The other suggestion I had is no one overnight in the parks.
No one overnight in the park.
We will definitely post hours, and that's one thing that's not on the rules, but we will also have hours for the park.
We were thinking about the hours being similar to the rec center. I can't remember what time the rec center opens, but it closes at 8 p.m.
Most of us remember the parks, the problems, and I think if we just make it clear from the start, it will cut down on the problems. Has everybody had a chance to go look at the park inside the fence? One of the concerns I have is the parking, how close it's going to be, especially near the beginners. And as somebody who says keep the parking, I would suggest we take out half of that row. The parents are going to have to be at that one section. It's the only place they can see the beginners. And I would like to leave them a little more than, I don't even know if that's a 10-foot strip where cars are going to pull up.
I think there is a curbing there.
And we're also going to be installing a fence along there between the parking lot and the...
so there is going to be a split rail there as well?
Fence, so there'll be a barrier there, so folks will be protected from the vehicles.
But I'm talking leaving them space to be there. I mean, if you have 15 parents that are there, and I don't want them to all be crammed in a little space. It didn't look like, it was 10 feet wide between the edge of the park and where the cars are going to be?
I think so.
It runs from 10 to 20, I think.
Yeah. Basically, the original design, I don't know if we can, if you go back,
you can't really see it.
So maybe this one.
That's the best one you've got.
The original design sort of ended, more like here, and this was added. So if you can see up here, this whole area, this is where the parking is going to start. So there's a lot of green. This is all going to be green space. These are lights. These stakes are lights. And this will be a much wider green space. So that's really kind of your hangout area where you're going to have a picnic table and we talked about planting.
But once they get closer to Depot Street, they're not going to be close enough to yell to their kids.
The other area that you really, there are spots, that we could have. There are going to be some spots on this side as well. But the bigger green space is going to be either on this side where there's already green space, or they're closer to the old station.
And questioning, you talked about some trees up by where the old train station building is. The day we were there, we could see some leaves and other things had also already gathered, and I don't know if the person's here that went with us, but he said there are places where they leave brooms and dustpans, so the first one there can clean up.
Yeah.
I would just hate to plant trees up there to have things to blow into the park. Have you talked about the type of trees you want to plant?
We haven't really gotten that far. I know Dan and I talked a little bit about there might still be some in the budget for something similar to the cherry trees that are on the other side. But like I said, that would be much further down, closer to the station.
Yeah, we want to be careful, and we're probably not going to plant any trees this season just to see how the whole park works out and whether it makes sense. But Nancy, that's one of the concerns I had is we don't want to add to the debris that would be in the
Where
park.
that space is, where you put the trees, the shade's going to go towards Depot Street, so it's not going to help anybody sitting there anyways.
I think the only trees that we are going to plant, we did promise to plant some lilacs along the Bennington station for those folks. But I think that's the only plantings that we're putting
that we're doing this
season.
Yep.
But will that block the view into the park from the street?
So no, it'll be in front of the building itself.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we are not going to have things blocking the view from the street or anything like that.
And on the rules where you said kids under 12 be supervised, I think you should put right in there by a parent or be specific who you want supervising them, so they don't have maybe a 14-year-old sibling showing up.
We could say parent or guardian.
By parent
Well,
or
then maybe
guardian.
you should have that all together.
No, I see what you're saying. No, we
You
could
know,
we
so
could
there's
make
no
that.
question you don't have a 13-year-old showing up to watch a 7-year-old. Could you go back to the money, please? So how much did the group raise this summer that was on Facebook?
I think they raised about 16,000 additional. So they had raised, there had been, close to 40, and then an additional 16 was raised.
So
or
that-
40 plus 16,
So when I'm
17.
looking at that 67,000, is that the total donations?
Yes.
I thought the donations were $300,000 to match what the taxpayers put in and the ARPA.
What we had agreed to, Nancy, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to clarify. We had agreed that it was 300 from the former ARPA funds, 300 from Penny for Parks, and then 300,000 from grants and fundraising. And
Okay,
that's
well,
what we did.
I didn't understand that.
That was very clear during the presentation.
For 67,000, I just want people to understand that's probably by far the smallest amount any town that I'm aware of that's going towards a park. And again, I want people to understand that 300,000 from Pennies for Parks was from the taxpayers. It wiped out the account, and I just wish I'd understood that was that little bit of money. Didn't they pay a professional fundraiser with ARPA money? Didn't she get 10,000?
I don't recall.
She got maybe $1,200.
$1,200.
Oh, I thought she got more than that. But
No, she didn't. She gave a training on fundraising that was great, because a lot on the committee had not ever done fundraising.
I just thought donation-wise, businesses had donated $300,000, and
let me just point out that these funds, this financing stack was vetted and approved by this board to the degree that it needed to be.
Yeah, this is not a change from what was.
No, I did not understand.
And in fact, when I applied for the Downtown Transportation Fund, which obviously is the biggest chunk, I came before the select board and asked for approval to apply for that grant.
And we exceeded the $300,000 that we were seeking in grants and donations.
So you said you had a second 200,000 in addition to this one?
Yes, but that was for the Riverwalk. That was a couple years prior. We also got a $200,000 grant to repave the Riverwalk.
I thought last Friday, I knew about this one 200,000. I thought that was going to be used not for the building. I thought that was for the lights and the benches.
Yes, some of that Riverwalk money from the original Riverwalk grant was used to extend to add more amenities at the end of the Riverwalk, which is the skate park.
So this 200,000 went to the build of the skateboard park?
Yes.
So for the lights and benches and whatever else, you're going to use up what you have left of the other 200,000?
Yes, that now is we've used all of those funds, but yes, that did help with some of the lighting and benches, but I think we also had benches already through the Buildings and Grounds Department.
And the work that the town is doing, was that taken out of the skateboard park money, or is this an addition?
The work that the town is doing?
The work that the town crew is down
Well, the work where they had to buy materials is coming out of that fundraising. But the staff time is not being paid out of the grant money. That's out of the budget.
And was there a water and sewer line run last year from River Street across the parking lot?
Yes.
And was that taken out of the park build?
We did have some funding for that as well, yes. And we also received a $35,000 donation from the contractor.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the contractor also gave us a really good donation, a huge donation of his time and materials.
How much was a huge donation?
$35,000.
30,000.
30
Yeah, or 30,000. And a lot. I was really impressed by how many local contractors donated to the campaign as well, and they're going to be recognized on that sign.
Did anybody contact, I forgot which park it is, I don't think it was Middlebury, somebody around there? I read there were 4 or 5 different groups, they went out and gave grant money or made donations through grants, different groups involved in skateboarding. Did we reach out to any of those groups?
To Middlebury, is that what you said?
Well, no, that's where I read different, that one of the parks near there had reached out, different organizations that are involved in skateboarding, and they donate money. And I think I read that there was one town that got money from 4 or 5 different groups like that. Did we reach out to any groups, or?
Sure. I mean, there were grants that I applied for that we didn't get, like to the Tony Hawk Foundation and others.
Okay, so you did get some grants from those groups. That's
well, we didn't actually get that funding, but it's always, you try, and sometimes you succeed, and sometimes you don't.
Okay, so
we exceeded our goal in raising $300,000. I just want to bring us back to the point of order, if I can,
Right,
please.
yeah, and I mean, none of this is news. This isn't our first discussion about this topic. This is kind of
I just wanted to show the total and that we kept the project within budget and that the fundraising campaign was successful, the park is beautiful, and it's good news.
You said we have a 1-year warranty with Grindline?
Yes.
Okay. So now that we've paid Grindline, they've been paid in full?
I believe, yes.
We don't have any signed document with anybody else, correct?
What do you mean with anybody else?
Well, now that we're done with Grindline, we don't have any signed lease or agreement? Okay.
No.
When the group wants to hold competitions, and which is fine, are they going to be taking out an insurance rider for when they're running the competitions?
I would imagine probably we would do it just like we do all of our public parks. Yeah.
I don't know, is that how that works?
Yeah, they do. Whoever is the organizer of the event would give a certificate of insurance naming the town of Bennington. That's their standard practice for any park use or organizer.
The bathrooms, there was a discussion, I don't know, 2 years ago. What's the status with bathrooms?
Well, right now we do not have a public restroom. We've talked about potentially building a public restroom or having a porta potty. I think for this season, we're just going to keep it without a bathroom and let people know that where there is a public bathroom that's nearby. And then we'll reassess,
okay,
for the next season.
As far as the building that I heard about a year and a half, 2 years ago, that isn't still being considered, is it?
It is still certainly being considered, but that would be another, public-private partnership, but would be led by the...
Which would come before this board.
It would come before this board.
We're not here to talk about that tonight.
Exactly. This is really kind of just the first phase of the skate park.
Well, I'd like to see us focus on, the bathrooms, have that be reasonable and final. We're one of the few towns in the state, probably New England, with a park like this, and I'd like to see us focus on finding a park or a parking lot in Bennington that we could flood so people could ice skate in the winter. I mean, this will be great, but, we can do things cheaply in the winter for ice skating, so.
All right. Sarah, do you have any?
Tom, there's questions down here too, just
okay.
there.
Jim?
I don't have a question. Just say thank you, Shannon and town staff and the Bennington skating community for putting together a great project, and what I understand is not a skateboarding person myself, to be a superb design, and really integrating it very well into part of the town, and it's going to be a great addition, and I personally appreciate all the work that you guys have done, so I just want to say thank you.
Yep. And I go by there every day on my way to work, and the staff, now that they're there, they're moving right along really rapidly.
Yeah, they really are.
And I have a friend whose desk is in one of the offices at the old train station. She says she regularly sees people just standing there gazing longingly
pining,
at the park, like a child waiting for Santa Claus to come.
Yeah, well, it was great when Nancy and Cliff showed up and gave a tour of the park when Nancy was there, and there was a guy from North Adams with his son who came in and said, "Can we come in? When can we come? When can we come?" So I really do think it's going to be a draw from, especially all of our neighboring communities are going to want to come and visit, for sure.
Who has all the cars that are in that lot right now during the day? It's usually half to three-quarters full Monday through Friday. There can't be more than a few for MSK. I just wonder who has all those other cars that are there? Anybody know?
I mean, MSK has
Oh, I can't imagine they have more than a handful.
Oh, they have a lot more employees than you think.
Yeah, but they have some that work remote.
Yeah, but there's also
even if they had 10, it's...
But regardless, it's a municipal lot, people can park there. It's a municipal lot, yeah, so people can use
Well,
it.
but if the hope is to draw lots of people to come to the park...
That's a problem I'm sure we'll be able to address.
I do have a skate
Clark?
She said something, Shannon, that I guess out of all these meetings we've had that I zoned out or missed. The fact the contractor gave a fairly substantial donation of $35,000, and you also mentioned other entities in town had done so. And of course, those don't show up on there. But I would like to publicly thank those people for what they did, unheralded, I guess. Anonymous giving allegedly is the highest level of giving, so I appreciate the fact there are people here basically put their money where their mouth is, and thank you.
Yes.
Sarah?
Tom, sorry. Can I just add to what Clark said? $67,000 is a huge amount of money to have been collected through large and small donations in the town of Bennington. So contrary to what some of my board members just commented about a lack of funding, thank you to the Bennington community for making this possible.
Sarah?
I just want to add, I appreciate the donations, but having looked for the past year and a half, what other select boards and towns are requiring citizens to go out and raise, this is $1 million park, $67,000 is nice, but...
Sarah?
Yeah, thank you to everybody that's been involved in this project. Everybody here knows who they are, so I will not name them individually. And I'm going to express my sincere disappointment, which is that I will not be here in September. I will be away working. So if there's any way you can push it off a couple days.
Can I borrow your board, Sarah? Can I borrow your skateboard?
Just a couple days, like till October 2nd. Just.
Anyone from the audience? All right.
I'll just jump up and say this is needed in Bennington.
100%. I told all of you, select board members, community members, this is definitely needed. We need things for kids to do. We've made our rec center into the YMCA, and it looks amazing up there. This just adds to our beautiful Willow Park that we have, and I think that these are steps in the right direction to draw people to Bennington and want to be here in Bennington. Not just police officers, just one more plug for the police. But I want to share with you that when you get ready to do your grand opening, the police would love to come with the Copsicle trailer, hand out ice cream and maybe a little freedom pop on a skateboard. You might see it, you never know. But I will call my dad, and I'm going to ask him. I was a roller skater back in the day. I know it's hard for you to believe. I actually had longer hair feathered on the side and long in the back, and I could do a pretty cool spin and jump and everything on. And until my mom bought me these sneaker skates, but I bet I still have those. They might not fit, but the bottom line is this is very exciting for this community, and you know, I'm just glad to see it. I was down on the property Friday with our Public Works Director, RJ Jolly, and he is just super excited. He had his little spray paint doing his thing. The guys were digging holes and laying pipe, and it's just absolutely amazing. And we have like the best buildings and grounds department.
We really do.
When you started talking about trees, I was like, no more apple trees, and you know, and so I'm just saying. I mean, it's the park's going to be well maintained, just like Willow Park. We're super excited. The only thing that I ask is when it comes time to enforce the rules, we're not calling the police. You know, it's self-policing, talking to kids that aren't wearing the proper protective gear, and please don't ask the police to come down there and say, you're not wearing a helmet, you little brat, go home, because we're about community policing. Right, Clark? Yep. Got you. So, thank you, everybody.
Chief, let me just mention, Chief, you don't need skates any more than I do. So, whether your mother has those in the attic or whatever, don't go looking for them.
Well, Clark and our helmets are going to fit tighter than yours.
Okay.
Well, I'll pay money to see you on skates with disco ball going around.
Yeah.
All right. Shannon, thank you very much. All right, on to the manager's report. Mr. Monks.
Well, I have no action items this evening, so I can keep it short.
May I ask a quick question?
Sure.
The bridge on Main Street, do we have enough money in the bridge reserve for our share?
Are your mics on down there?
So yes, it is. So I believe we do, Nancy, but I can check to see if we currently have it in this year's budget, because I don't know if we were considering having it also in next year's budget.
No, I remember in January, Stu said he thought so, but I guess the bids went out too. They had to rebid, so I never heard.
It was much higher than the state expected. So yes, we do have to be cautious of that with our bridge reserve fund.
I'll check just to see if we've got enough.
That's it? Easy. All right, upcoming agenda. I don't have anything, Dan.
Upcoming agenda. Well, I mean, there are a lot of things that we could be doing, and we need direction from this chair and the vice chair. You know, we were talking about, and I don't know if we want to do a listening session first. We were talking about vacant properties, whether or not that's something we want to start to address. And I know that on your radar, Tom, and perhaps Clark's was the animal control ordinance.
Yep.
So if those are ready, you know, we need a heads up from the select board that you need some staff input on those.
Okay,
but
no,
it may be a little early.
We still had a couple meetings left with the chief on
Yeah, okay. So I think it's a little early on those, but I haven't forgotten them and they're on my radar.
Other business. Nancy?
I had two things on agendas I wanted to follow up on.
Okay.
At the last meeting, I explained why we needed to bring the Energy Committee back in. Obviously, they're not here tonight. Will they be on the next agenda?
I've had a couple, I will be reaching out to their chair.
I'd like to
They
wait.
were just here a very short time ago, so, and I know you had some questions regarding, he did mention some stuff around their charge, and I'm going to be reaching out to him for some more clarification on that.
As the Energy Chair Liaison, they are waiting on another member, so we have to do the interviews so that they are not worrying about a quorum each meeting. So we have to do the interviews so that they're not concerned about having a quorum.
So we have to do the interviews, just to let you know.
We just appointed 3 people and filled the 3 positions. I don't know why we're appointing a 4th one. But again, when they were in here, they talked about, they now have a different mission statement. They talked about who they're going to work for. As I said, they can certainly come here and discuss it. We can discuss it publicly, but then the board would have to vote to allow that to happen.
I'm looking for more clarification on their statement on that, what exactly they meant when they said that. If it's something the board has to take action on, we will bring them before us.
The other thing that I brought up a couple of meetings ago, back in June, I invited Cornerstone Housing CEO Mary Cohen to come to a meeting here in July. She said she would be here. She said she would have been here at the last meeting in June, but our agenda was full. Have we invited her to come in yet?
Can I ask what the topic would be and what action the board could take as a result of that?
Sure. Many people don't realize that Cornerstone in January, I don't know if they've merged or have taken over all of Shires in Bennington County. Most of their housing is right here in Bennington. A lot of the things they talked about at the open house was interesting.
What open house?
The open house they had in June.
Yep.
Okay, making sure that I know what you're talking about.
Well, it was in the paper. Our 2 state senators from Bennington County were there, state officials, about 10 citizens in the audience, Mary Morrissey, Zach Hale, Tom. It was a good discussion, but there were a couple other things that needed to get clarified, and I think it would be helpful for the people of Bennington to hear so they understand that our housing that used to be just Bennington County has now merged with Rutland County.
We were very well briefed on that when the merger happened.
Yeah, we were.
They did come to a meeting and discuss that at length. But if she thinks she has anything that she can add or needs anything more help from us, I would certainly be open to that.
I believe they said they've got 15 people on the board of directors, only 5 from Bennington County. There's as much housing in Bennington County as Rutland.
I will note, though, that they are a private organization that we don't have authority over.
I'm sorry?
Thank you. It's not an organization that we govern.
Yep.
I mean...
Well, our town office has done an awful lot of work with Shires over the past 30, 25 years.
Maybe I could add a little bit of clarification. I don't want to talk about this. It's not really on the agenda, but I was involved in Shires Housing for probably 25 years and served as the chair during the merger process. They merged with 2 other organizations. They merged with NeighborWorks of Western Vermont and the Housing Trust of Rutland County. There are 15 board members on the new board, anticipating each of those previous boards to initially provide 5 representatives. So over time, this is going to merge into one single board where maybe there'll be 7 or 8 representatives or 9 representatives from Bennington County. But to start with, it was set up so that each of the organizations that contributed to Cornerstone Housing Partners would provide 5.
Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention all the activities that are going on this weekend. Chicken dinner on Friday, a fire department Children's Day on Saturday, Battle Day, Day Parade on Sunday, and then the Food Truck Fest on Saturday. And I think I forgot some, so make sure you check social media and the paper.
And I'd just like to add, earlier when I did thank the police department and the staff at Donovan's, I didn't thank the rescue squad people who were also incredible that night and were not in a great situation. So I apologize for forgetting them, and I am very thankful for their work.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Just a couple things. One, I'd like to thank everyone who was involved in that night. It was a very serious incident, and especially noteworthy is that my 2 fellow select board members on either side of me are here to participate in the meeting tonight, and I greatly appreciate that. There's a listening session on Thursday, August 21st, and we'll have a topic announced on that in the near future, and we'll publicize that. And at the previous listening session, we talked about the monument, people remember, and we're drafting a resolution based on the discussion at that listening session that will be a topic at an upcoming board meeting, I'm sure. Thank you.
At the risk of ringing this bell 3 times, it was said for me at the beginning of the meeting and just a moment ago, but I'd just like to say for myself that I'm very grateful to the officers from the Bennington Police Department for responding quickly and just their professionalism and how they conducted themselves, for the Bennington Rescue Squad, and for the patrons that were at Donovan's that night for responding responsibly and appropriately. I'm very grateful that everyone survived that very scary incident. Chief Doucette, please pass along my gratitude to your officers. The second thing I have is the window dressers community build is coming up October 16th through the 22nd. Why is that relevant tonight? Because the final call to order window inserts is on August 25th. So if you'd like to purchase some window inserts, they go in your windows. They help insulate. They help save money on your energy bill. Reach out to them by August 25th. It's a great organization, and they do a lot of good work in this community.
Clark?
A couple of things. I guess I'm going to piggyback on Jim's statement. Our letter or proclamation to the state on issues around repairing the monument, how important that is to the town. You know, I'm hoping that we can get that resolution put together and publicly forwarded to those folks. But at the same time, one of the things I think I've mentioned in the past that I also would like the Select Board to publish an invitation to both our state senators and state representatives that our door is always open for them to come to these meetings and give us updates on legislative issues that they feel are going to impact on the town. I think folks would be better served hearing it directly from their mouth than through the banner or second, third hand, you know, to come and say, hey, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it or not doing it. So if we could ask them to please come see us regularly.
Thanks. Ed?
I just got to say that I was not invited to play pool at Donovan's the other night, and I would not be afraid after what happened or anything to go to Donovan's. So if anybody wanted to invite a pool rookie, and I would have to borrow a cue, is that what you call it, a cue?
I have some.
I just reminding the board that we have, and I think we might mention this, but we have committee and commission interviews next week, and I hope that we will be rounding out the open positions that still exist on those town boards and commissions.
Thank you very much. We do have need of an...
Excuse me, I have 2 things for other business.
That's where we
just did other business. Go ahead.
Well, you talked about the agenda. I had 2 things for that. I'm glad people brought up Battle Day weekend and lots of different things going on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I looked at the home page of the town website. There's nothing about Battle Day, but I can still read about Trail Fest that happened on July 26th. I would hope tomorrow that could come off and we could get Battle Day and start promoting all the different events that are going on. The other thing is the Bennington Town Plan. For the last 2 years, the BCRC, the Planning Commission, and Dan have worked on updating, I would really call it more of a new Bennington Town Plan. They put many, many hours into it. The Planning Commission are all volunteers. They don't get paid. They just finished about 2 weeks ago. I thought the process would be that they would come in, give a big presentation, so everyone would understand all that new information in there, and the board and the public could ask questions and get answers. Instead, the Planning Commission will be here Wednesday at 6 to give a brief overview and take comments.
That will be the first of 2 meetings to discuss the town plan. Nancy, the way that works, and we will be having meetings with this board, the Planning Commission does its work, it does its public hearings, and then it submits it to the board. What we will often do is have a work session or a presentation to the board, however the board can dictate that process. It's your process. And then the select board will have at least 2 public hearings. They can have additional meetings if they would like to. So it is not to the point where we would involve the select board directly, although we have made sure that all the board members knew about the meetings that the planning commission has.
I understand, but Dan known and would agree that I'm one of the few people that has followed the work of the Planning Commission for a long time, and I know it's critical that our citizens understand each thing going into the town plan. Our citizens don't get to vote. It will only be the select board, and I want the public to have a chance to understand and have a say. So right now, I have probably an hour's worth of questions. So where will I be asking those questions and getting answers publicly?
Well, you can ask them at the meetings, or you could send them ahead of time so that we could try to answer. Maybe some of them are easy enough to answer that we don't need to.
But the public, I've got it with me, it's 126 pages. Our citizens are not going to read through this. If they do, they aren't going to understand. Again,
I think you underestimate our public.
I do too. It is not.
Respectfully.
It is a very easily accessible document, and that was the goal. You also remember, Nancy, the reason it took so long is we spent hours and hours of time reaching out to the public and getting public input. So this is not something the Planning Commission just pulled out of thin air and put onto paper. They hired a well-respected regional planning commission to do public outreach. We reached out to multiple folks, multiple community organizations. This is based on their input. And the select board will have its opportunity to make any changes they wish. The Planning Commission submits it to you folks for you to adopt, and you can make changes without the Planning Commission's approval or concurrence.
But the BCRC was equally involved. And a DEI expert was hired 2 years ago. And I have the document from the BCRC from August of 2023. I just found it on the Planning Commission website, incorporating DEI values. Well, the I is inclusion. And again, I want our citizens to understand all of these new things that are being put in there. And I just don't understand how that's going to happen.
There will be a presentation both at the meeting this week and at the public hearing. And then this board can request as much of a presentation or public input as you would like.
We can do that for a select board meeting.
The select board has complete control over the process once the Planning Commission submits it to you.
And I think every board member here agrees with you that we want the public to read and understand the town plan.
And that's why it's available right now for folks.
So we will put that on an agenda then.
Of course, we have to.
It can't move if it doesn't come past this board, Nancy.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing that up because several years ago, Planning Commission, 2 public hearings, several months apart about all the town zoning. Then it went to the select board. 1 15-minute public hearing at the start of a meeting, and that was it. So as long as we're going to do it on an agenda, that's fine.
You'll have to have 2 publicly warned formal hearings. That's required.
But we can do that after a regular select board meeting.
You can do it.
We could do that.
During,
yes.
you could have those 2 formal hearings, and you could have as many additional meetings as you would like before you voted to adopt.
We will make sure that the community has every opportunity to comment on the town plan.
Okay.
Additional opportunity.
Additional, yes,
Because
thank
there's
you.
already been plenty.
Clark, real quick.
Could we make it to the people out there in Cat TV land and their friends, you're interested in a new town plan, please contact the town officers, and they will provide you with a written copy that you can read and dissect at your leisure, and come on down and see us or give us a buzz about things that you are concerned about. But the town plan is readily available to anyone in town who wants a hard copy to read at their leisure.
Yeah, we also have a comment page on the website.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
folks want to submit comments. So we want to make sure that everybody who wants to has the opportunity to comment on it. And what we've found in the past is regardless of how much you promote a public hearing, a public meeting, people rarely do we have a large turnout. What we've tried to do is use the regional commission to go to folks and seek the information from them directly. We find that to be much more effective. We want to give everybody the opportunity to come to a public meeting, but we have found in the past that is probably the least effective way of gathering public input.
Can I just say that the BCRC's community outreach plan is probably one of the best that I've ever seen, and I've seen several of them over my life, and I've seen it in action with a couple of different boards that I'm on. So I am confident that with where we are to this point and where we know we need to go moving forward in that town plan development, that there is lots of public input opportunity.
Thanks, Ed.
And I would just offer, and I know Clark's already, and Nancy and Jim and Tom, as I've already spoken to all of them, and probably the rest of you too, are already reading through it. And if you have comments and suggestions, we'd love to have those before we submit to you so that we can incorporate to the extent we can, so that that's already addressed before it even gets to you. So that's why we want to make sure that you folks have the opportunity to do that. And we'll be able to probably take and incorporate comments through the end of August, and then September we'll try to finalize that so we can get it to you folks, because we want to give you, at least 4 months to get through your process.
All right. So as I started to say, we do have need for an executive session to discuss personnel. We will not be taking any action. Could I please have a motion to enter executive session?
Sorry. Just really quickly, just so that one of the fire department is upset. Bennington Battle Day weekend festivities are listed on the Town of Bennington website, and it gives all the details of everything that's happening. But I understand your point that we need to put it in the forefront so you don't have to click on the community tab. I think that's what you were saying.
Well, yeah,
because all the details are listed right here, and sometimes information gets out, and I just don't want the fire department to think that we didn't put all their information up on the website.
No, I just would like to be it on the home webpage, the starting point.
Okay, instead of clicking on the tab.
It's at benningtonvt.org/Battle Day.
Yeah, so that's how I pulled it up, and it's all right here. But I also looked and saw what you're talking about, but again, for the record, I just want to make sure the fire department knows it is on the website.
And when you Google Bennington Battle Day 2025, that's where you end up.
Just think of what it's going to look like in 2027.
There you go.
Could I please have a motion to enter executive session?
So moved.
Second, third, fourth.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. I'm going to call a quick 5-minute recess while everybody gets cleaned up.